10% of the Earth's entire biomass burned in an instant. 30 million square miles of land were scorched black. 75% of North America's large mammals vanished from the Earth. All of this began in a single day. 12,801 years ago, the Earth was at peace. The Ice Age was coming to an end. The ice that had covered the continents for tens of thousands of years had begun to slowly melt. Mammoths and saber-toothed cats roamed the grasslands of North America, and the Clovis people lived by hunting with stone tools. A paper published in Nature reports abnormal platinum concentrations, 100 times above normal levels in geological layers from this period. A trace identified by 50 scientists from the UCSB Comet research group. Platinum is an extremely rare element on Earth. Concentrations at this level cannot be explained by any natural process. This is a fingerprint of extraterrestrial material. 12,800 years ago, something fell from the sky. An estimated 4 kilometers in diameter. A fragmented comet traveling at 70,000 kilometers per hour. It was not a single mass. The comet had already broken into dozens of fragments upon entering the solar system. Its structure was like a shotgun blast. The fragments rained down simultaneously across the entire northern hemisphere. Some exploded in the atmosphere. The 1908 Tunguska event in Siberia flattened 80 million trees. This impact was hundreds of times more powerful. The moment the energy from the airburst struck the surface, ground temperatures exceeded 2200 degrees Celsius. This is not an estimate. At the Abu Huraira site in Syria, melt glass that only forms above 2200 degrees was found in layers dating back 12,800 years. This is physical evidence presented in the paper published in Nature Scientific Reports. The readings match the surface temperature of a nuclear detonation. It is an exact chemical match to the melt glass found at the 1945 nuclear test site in New Mexico. 12,800 years ago, nuclear bomb-level heat was generated at that very location. And this trace was not found in Syria alone. The same geological layer has been confirmed at more than 50 sites around the world. Nanodiamonds, magnetic microspheres, carbon spherules, iridium, platinum. These materials share one thing in common. They are all signatures that appear only in cosmic impacts. The distribution area of this layer covers roughly 50 million square kilometers. That is 1/3 of the Earth's total land surface. The only thing that can account for this range as a single event is a cosmic impact. Immediately after the impact, what engulfed the Earth was fire. According to a study published in the Journal of Geology, 10% of the Earth's biomass was lost. When the fragments struck the 3-kilometer thick ice sheet over North America, trillions of tons of ice melted in an instant. Cold fresh water poured into the Atlantic, shutting down the ocean circulation system known as AMOC. The massive conveyor belt that had carried warm water from the tropics northward came to a complete stop. The consequences were immediate. Northern Hemisphere temperatures plummeted by up to 10 degrees within a decade. The Earth, which had been emerging from the Ice Age, began to freeze again. This is the Younger Dryas. A sudden cold period that lasted 1,200 years. Forests across Europe turned to tundra and sea levels swung by more than 120 meters. Do you think the cause of this catastrophe was a comet or was it a volcano? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Now let us look at the traces this catastrophe left on living things. Microscopic meteorite fragments were found embedded in mammoth tusks. Columbian mammoths, saber-toothed cats, American lions, giant ground sloths, dire wolves. 35 genera of large mammals disappeared during this period. 75% of North America's megafauna went extinct. In South America, 83%. This was the largest mass extinction of large animals since the dinosaurs. During the same period, the Clovis civilization, North America's earliest sophisticated stone tool culture, vanished completely from the archaeological record. A culture that had thrived since 13,000 years ago was cut off without a trace, starting 12,800 years ago. A genomic study published in 2022 confirmed that South America also experienced a sharp population crash and a Y chromosome bottleneck during the same period. The catastrophe was not limited to North America. The Earth burned and then froze. The giant animals vanished, and the civilizations that hunted them were erased along with them. However, there are counterarguments to this hypothesis. And those counterarguments are equally powerful. A massive crater 31 kilometers in diameter was discovered beneath the Hiawatha Glacier in Greenland. It raised hopes as evidence of an impact 12,800 years ago. But argon-argon dating and zircon crystal analysis revealed that this crater formed 58 million years ago. Here lies the greatest weakness of the impact hypothesis. Not a single impact crater from 12,800 years ago has ever been found. Supporters argue that the comet struck a 3-kilometer thick ice sheet, leaving no crater behind. Opposing scientists call this unfalsifiable logic. They argue that the absence of a crater is itself proof that no impact occurred. Nanodiamonds are also at the heart of the debate. Some research teams have countered that they are actually graphene oxide. The latest study, published in March of 2026, brought a new twist. The platinum spike may not have been caused by a comet at all. Analysis of Greenland ice cores suggested that the source of the platinum could have been Icelandic volcanic eruptions. According to this study, the platinum spike appeared 45 years after the onset of the Younger Dryas and persisted for 14 years. If it had been a comet impact, the signal should have been instantaneous. It lasted far too long. On the other hand, in August of 2025, a team from the University of South Carolina published new evidence from ocean sediments supporting the comet impact theory. In September of 2025, direct evidence of a cosmic impact was reported at classic Clovis archaeological sites. In the scientists' own words, all hell broke loose there. Both sides continue to publish paper after paper. Yet there is one thing both sides agree on. 12,800 years ago, something catastrophic struck the Earth. Whether it was a comet, a volcano, or a combination of causes. Ice cores, lake sediments, ocean cores, archaeological sites, genomic data. Every record points to the same moment. 12,800 years ago, civilization was reset. And after the reset, something remarkable happened. Around 11,600 years ago, humanity's first megalithic temple was built in Turkey. Göbekli Tepe, Hunter-gatherers erected 12-ton stone pillars without even having agriculture. As if trying to remember something. As if trying to carve a lost world into stone. The catastrophe of 12,800 years ago nearly wiped out humanity, but it did not succeed completely. There were survivors, and they started over from the ruins. Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Indus Valley. Every ancient civilization we know of began after this great catastrophe. We may be living in a post-reset civilization. This estimate is based on scientists' simulations. If a Younger Dryas scale event were to repeat today, global agricultural systems would collapse within 3 years. That is why this research matters. Because uncovering the past is how we prepare for the future. The truth of what happened 12,800 years ago has not yet been fully revealed. Comet or volcano, the verdict is still out. But the fact that the Earth burned, froze, and civilizations were erased is beyond dispute. The evidence is written in the geological record. In the next episode, we trace the remnants of civilizations that survived this catastrophe. Could it be Göbekli Tepe? Or perhaps an underwater city yet to be discovered? Let us know in the comments. The Great Catastrophe of 12,800 years ago. Episode 2. Records of the Survivors. Coming next week.